that seed from somewhere else. Just have the
Hey
seed ready.
everybody. Oh, all right, Tux, we're already in the intro. You gotta pipe down. Hey everybody. So welcome back this week. We've got another Litecoin Underground podcast. Animals here with me, of course, as always.
Morning.
And we're gonna finally get a chance to go through Cake Wallet and their implementation of MWEB in their wallet. We're gonna kind of do a little bit of everything. There's been a lot that's changed. If you guys know, they've obviously sponsored the show for basically since I've been doing this a couple of years, and they're always a good partner. And so I want to really show off a lot that's changed with not only MWEB, but I think there's Bitcoin silent payments. Go back through Cake Pay, Nano GPT, who we talked to a couple weeks ago, is incorporated in the wallet, and maybe I'm hoping Tux, who's with us, will be able to walk us through that. Now, I want to make some clarification. If you go into my spaces every Wednesday, there's a guy that used to come in named Tux. This is not that Tux. And you'll know that by when he talks, but just, that Tux, maybe someday we'll get him on the show, but I doubt it. But anyway, welcome in Tux Pizza, Tux Pseudo, Tux, whatever. How's it going? You having a good weekend?
Awesome. I'm doing all right. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I appreciate you coming in. And I know you have limited time today. So we want to try to be done by, maybe we'll try to be done 5 of 11 or something. So if you want, maybe get right into it. But if you got any, you want any kind of intro or a little bit of the history of getting this MWEB implementation done, or any stories you want to tell us. I know Vic's been a big proponent of it, Vic Sharma. And so, I don't know, do you have anything, or do you just want to jump right into it?
Yeah, I mean, Cake, we're like primarily a privacy focused wallet. I mean, we have like a lot of coins, but the first coin that Cake had was Monero, and it was basically the first Monero wallet for iOS. And so from the beginning, privacy has always been the focus. And as the company got bigger, as more and more people use the wallet, we ended up adding more and more coins. And for the longest time, Monero has kind of been the only privacy coin on there. We had Haven, which is kind of deprecated right now. So it's cool to see other privacy features come to other coins. So like, for instance, MWEB. And that was, I think we were contacted by Loshan and Hector earlier this year, maybe late last year, as they were working on some of the implementation for MWEB for mobile wallets. So the MWEB daemon, which Hector worked on for quite a while, and definitely helped us a lot in getting it implemented into the wallet. And I got to give a shout out to Matthew as well, our developer, who spent months and months going through, polishing things up, creating an interface so people could peg in and peg out to MWEB, making it as usable as possible and as stable as possible.
Yeah, and we'll get into obviously the user experience of it, which is critical. Like that's something that I think what I've really, I came to, actually, speaking of that guy Tux, he's the one that told me, hey, you should reach out to Justin Ehrenhofer, who at the time was with Cake, and talk to them about working together or do an interview with them. And so I didn't know anything about Cake up to that point. And what I've liked over the time is that Vic, I feel like has this vision of like, I want to build great tools to use this money. Even in the beginning, I'm sure a lot of the work is not profitable and it's been a labor of love. And, it's difficult because these coins don't always get used a whole lot. But just being committed to that kind of ethos of like, we want to promote privacy. We want to give people access to good coins and good tools using cryptocurrency, and make the user experience at a premium, right? I don't want to just have all this crap and not make it make sense to people. And to see that, in my opinion, I mean, I feel like it's grown a lot in the last couple of years. I feel like in Litecoin in particular, almost everybody that interacts with us talks about Cake Wallet, uses Cake Wallet. And just seeing that success, I think, is really cool, and kind of just, hats off to Vic for that, because it's probably not easy to just put your own money out there and wish that it'll work, So that I just appreciate that about Cake and Vic, and I'm assuming that's a team ethos there too, right?
For sure. And I mean, it's definitely challenging because we're kind of in a position where and I mean, this is kind of a Vic thing as well, because he really likes being a first adopter. we're being first adopters for a lot of new privacy things for various coins. So it's really cool. And it's like, hey guys, we have this feature first, but it's also a challenge because we're having to deal with a lot of the initial roughness of a feature that hasn't been built that well or hasn't been built before. So we're the first ones doing it within a wallet. But it's been fun. It's been great. It gives us a lot of opportunities to connect to different communities, like Litecoin with MWEB, Bitcoin with silent payments, stuff like that. So it can be challenging at times, but it's definitely where we shine and why, like, we do it because we want to. We want to push privacy further for as much as we can, because most coins for the longest time has had little to no privacy, and we want to see that envelope for pushed further. So that's why we strive to be the first ones to implement these new big privacy features.
All right. All right. Well, hey, let's jump into it. Like I said, I mean, I hope this doesn't take 50 minutes.
No,
But-
this is actually I don't think this is a slightly newer dev build. Okay, yeah, this isn't exactly stable, but this will look exactly the same if you're to use this right now. So this is a Litecoin wallet. And if you go ahead and create a new Litecoin wallet in Cake Wallet, so let's make one here. Create a new seed.
That was my name in high school. That was my nickname.
I've gotten some pretty funny names before. Here you go. You guys can write this seed down. So this is what it will look like if you create a new Litecoin wallet in Cake Wallet. So you'll have this is new. You'll have this box right here that says MWEB. It'll tell you about it a little bit. You can click learn more. And I'm just running an Android emulator in my computer. This will look the same on your phone. And this will take you to the guides page, which I added a bunch of information about MWEB and how to use it within Cake Wallet. But you can go ahead and enable MWEB here. And I've already done this part, but for you, you'll get a pop-up telling you that it does have to download. Oops, it's not the page I wanted. Oh well.
Can just real quick that kind of summary of MWEB in the wallet, does that give you a little bit of like just info about what MWEB is and how it works, or like just very brief, like an overview?
Yeah, so we'll probably add more information within the app itself, but at the moment we just have a little bit of information at the top here that MWEB provides extra privacy through confidential transactions, which are the proofs for the amounts, and then stealth addresses, and then coin joins. But we'll probably add more educational information within the app itself and within the documentation. We might even do a video that just presents to the user.
Okay.
Very nice.
Okay. Just curious, just, because it's something we were talking about last week. Like, we need some documentation on MWEB. It's, it's
and
just
I
like
think a
really
nice sizzle
clear.
reel too. Yeah, like describing MWEB and its virtues and all that stuff. I think I think it deserves at this point, since it's so fleshed out with your wallet, some much more attention.
I agree. I'll agree. We'll probably do like a video, some educational content on that, assuming it's still going to be called MWEB, because I keep seeing a lot of people want to name it to like VPM or something, like virtual private money.
Were so we were at the forefront of that, and I would like to do that, but it is hard. It's like inside the community, everyone already calls it MWEB, so we'd like to, but we're thinking like outside the community, right? The simpler rendition is VPM, but let's just call it MWEB for now, since we're talking technically, okay? But if it changes to VPM, no, it's the same thing.
That's good. I mean, I understand it sounds like VPN. It's kind of a play off that. It is harder to say, and you have to be more specific, but I do kind of like it. So when you first set up an MWEB wallet in Litecoin, you will get a pop-up that says, hey, got to download about 600 megabytes of data. This is header data needed to check for MWEB transactions. You have to do this only one time for the entire app, right? So you can create multiple Litecoin wallets and you don't have to download this data again. This is currently a limitation of MWEB. Hopefully in the future, it won't have to download all of the blockchain header data. It's 600 megabytes one time. And going forward, syncing, it doesn't use that much data. It's fairly efficient. It doesn't even use as much data as, not nearly as much as like Monero. So you'll be presented here. And I'm actually going to go back to one of these wallets that has, let's see, is it this one? This one. that actually has some funds on it. Right, so I've got a Litecoin wallet here that's got about half a Litecoin on it. And the thing about MWEB is that it's kind of like a side chain in a way. It's a separate block. And I'm sure you guys know all about this. So you have to kind of get into it. And I guess the terminology that's been used is pegging in and pegging out, which sounds kind of funny. But that's what we have here. We've basically taken that and we've just built it an easy way for people to peg in their Litecoin into MWEB and to take it out if they want to. So if you peg in, it'll basically limit your coin control to only coins that are transparent Litecoin, right? So the only coin I have available here, which happens to all be transparent Litecoin. So I'm going to take some of this. Let's just do half of this 0.25 LTC. And I'm going to send. And what this is doing, it's just sending it to my own MWEB address. It just has auto-filled my own MWEB address. And I'm going to send here.
Okay. I like how it even spells out that it's going to have change to you in a way, right? Like,
yep,
that's a functionality UTXOs people don't really know a lot about. And I think it's interesting that you put that. But go ahead. Sorry, Animal.
No, and it's really nice. You don't have to mess with coin control or even be aware of what it is. It kind of really sets a clear demarcation between what is transparent and, pegged in Litecoin.
Yeah, this is a big improvement from a few months ago because I did a presentation at the Litecoin conference in Nashville, and this was before we even had this built in. And we were thinking about ways we could make it easier to separate this out for the user, and we ended up just doing this feature that opens the send screen with some auto pre-configured things, basically.
Yeah, it generates a new MWEB address and automatically, you don't have to think about it. It's pretty. Because I remember playing with the beta, right, that you guys had released at the time. And I mean, I'm a technical person, so for me, it wasn't really an issue. I could see that you had a really nice coin control already set up. But this just takes it a step further for people who might not be aware of UTXO management and all that. So yeah, definitely a huge.
Can you pull that screen up again? Because I'm allowed. This is the nice part of having a show like this. I get to give you live feedback. So if you hit the send again.
Oh, the peg-in?
Well, or any of these. My phone is smaller. I don't have a large screen. I'm a dork. I went and bought the mini because I didn't want to have a big phone in my wallet, in my pocket, I mean. And that gets cut off. So I don't actually see coin control.
So yeah, this you could probably actually scroll through that.
You can. I just something to note that maybe if there's a way to put it higher, or
that's definitely a UI enhancement that we'll have soon. There's a couple other people that have smaller phones, or there's a lot of people, especially older people, that have the DPI scaling set so high, everything's really large.
That's not
so yeah, we're going through a bit of a process right now. We're trying to get on a feature freeze, and once we're on that, we're going to go through the app and just fix a bunch of UI enhancements, bug fixes. But yeah, that's definitely on the radar. But yeah, like you were saying,
part of it. I mean, the coin control part of it, I think, is probably the one that will require the most, I guess, I would call it education, or just getting people used to using it and understanding what exactly they're doing. Because it seems like it'd be very easy. That's going to give you the best privacy when you're in MWEB. If you want to send to MWEB, use the MWEB coins, right? Don't mix them together. But anyway, go on. I'm sorry. I'm probably getting ahead of ourselves here. So now you got coins in MWEB.
Now you have coins in MWEB. Exactly. And I mean, that's like what you were saying. I mean, that's partially what Cake Wallet is as well. It's supposed to be a piece of cake. I mean, that's why Vic started Cake Wallet, is because he wanted not only just a Monero wallet, but he wanted it to be easy and simple to use. And so we've kind of tried to take that philosophy as much as we can. So before, with our initial MWEB integration, if some of you guys had seen it, it was very basic. You had to do everything yourself. You had to manually send yourself coins into MWEB, and you had to manually use coin control to actually strictly only use those MWEB coins. But now it's a lot more fleshed out. There's still some changes that need to be made to MWEB to make sure it prioritizes only coins that are already in MWEB, because sometimes it'll decide to take a transparent Litecoin and send it into MWEB if you're sending to an MWEB address. So there's some stuff that needs to be flushed out there, but we're definitely getting there. But as you can see now, after doing that, and that was actually really fast. I forgot how fast Litecoin is. I already
Like
have
2.5 minutes.
0.25 MWEB in my MWEB balance here. So as you saw, after we did that, it had an unconfirmed field showing you had unconfirmed MWEB. Now that it's confirmed, it's available to be used. And now you've got 0.25 MWEB here. And that's really it. And if you go to the transactions here by swiping over, you can see we have a peg in transaction. You've got that little MWEB label on it. It says MWEB. So we've pegged in that much Litecoin into MWEB. And also if we go into coin control now, if you just go to the regular send screen, if you click on coin control, you see we've got this change output, which also happens to be an MWEB coin. So you can see that there as it's labeled. And when you send, so if I were to send to another MWEB address, it should, hopefully, if MWEB is doing what it's supposed to, it should prioritize first that 0.25 MWEB coin. And if it needs any extra, it'll go ahead and peg in some of your transparent Litecoin automatically, which is kind of cool. MWEB we still want it to need to make it a little bit stricter in how it handles coins, but it is also intelligent. It'll either match both ways. So if you're sending to a transparent Litecoin address and you only have MWEB coins, it'll automatically depeg, unpeg those. But if you're sending to an MWEB address and you don't have enough MWEB coins, it'll automatically grab as much as it needs and peg those into MWEB. So it makes it an easy experience. So you're not like having problems sending to an address that you don't have enough balance. It'll handle that for you. So it makes it a very fluid and easy user experience.
So I was gonna just to maybe demonstrate, and I promise I'll send them back. But I was gonna go to receive MWEB, and I was gonna just send you via Telegram or something. I'll send you the address to plug in. But just really quick, pull up receive, because even that was a little bit confusing for me, just to demonstrate how to generate a receiving address. And one of the benefits I want to tell you guys about MWEB that I think is being slept on today is the ability to publicly post an address and not have your funds tracked. So by posting an MWEB address, there's no address amounts, there's no address correlated to your wallet. So if you're a charity or like for me, I wish I got more people giving me a couple bucks as a tip on Twitter, but I mean, over the course of my time, I've maybe received maybe $20 or something, which I appreciate. But the idea that I'd have to, I want to generate a new wallet because I don't really want people to know how much I've received, I think is really an odd thing. So I like the idea of being able to post an address and not have to worry about it. So if you don't mind, I'm going to try to send this to you via Telegram just to demonstrate it, and I'll send it back so that they can show coin control and all that, right? Make sense? Am I rambling?
Yeah. Go ahead and send me the address and I'll do that.
The addresses are definitely longer.
They are.
Which maybe brings up another conversation we can get into later, is like, BirdPay kind of has that ability to consolidate an address. Is there anything on the horizon for you guys or is there an ability to make just have like a username that people send to, as opposed to that long string of letters and numbers?
Yeah, so I mean, like you said, BirdPay is, that's one of our favorite. That's one of my favorite features. Vix loves it too, because I guess no other wallet really does it. You can actually add any supported coin address to your X/Twitter bio or your pinned tweet, and Cake will pick that up if you just put in that user's username and the @handle.
Even MWEB?
Even in MWEB, yeah. Yeah.
Wow,
So I
cool.
think I don't think I have one on my profile right now.
Wait. Do
you have
me,
one?
because I think I have one. Let me double check. I put it up there hoping Vic would give me some money, but he didn't do it.
It's crazy. It's like you put your wallet up there and like no one drops anything in there. Like, what the hell?
Yeah, I'll do that actually. Let's do it that way. That might be maybe we could do it both ways. And like I said, why don't you start now? Just show like a basic transaction. What? I gotta sign in. Dude, I reset my computer yesterday. I was having all sorts of issues. You ever get that? Do you guys get that thing where you're
Dude, I actually did the same thing. There's a new Windows 11 update or new image rather. Downloaded
Okay.
it and set that up yesterday. We're like twins, man. It's awesome.
Well,
See, I have different problems because I use Linux. I have audio and video problems.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Well, pick your poison, I guess. But yeah, I see your Litecoin. You have a Litecoin address, not an MWEB one, in your profile. So you said, well, maybe you can change it.
Sorry, hang on, guys.
I don't know if BirdPay does takes an image or just checks live with the account.
Yeah, it does a lookup via the API. We have a paid
Okay.
API. It just does lookup. So the change, if you make a change, it'll be checked immediately next time you attempt to send to that user.
Cool. Listen, while Grant's doing this, I have some questions regarding the nodes. A couple of people reached out to me. Well, I'll just Master Litecoin, Master BTC, LTC. You probably know him. I think he's got the most followers in the Litecoin community besides Charlie Lee or the foundation. Yeah, we were trying to get our own node set up. Obviously, like we run Litecoin D on our laptops or workstations, and on our own like local network, we were trying to get this going, and we weren't able to. I was able to connect to it, but it wouldn't synchronize. And well, obviously, like MWEB's a privacy-focused chain, and in the same spirit of that, I think a lot of people would like to one day use their own nodes, just to maximize the amount of privacy possible. If you could speak to that, like how you guys set up your nodes, like what the difference is, and when or if we might be able to do the same thing with our own nodes.
Yeah, that's a good question. This is definitely more answerable by Matthew, but I can tell you for sure. So right now in Cake Wallet, it defaults to the Cake node, and you can select other nodes. This doesn't necessarily mean MWEB's going to be using these nodes at the moment. MWEB D has its own list of nodes it's going to use as peers to peg in, peg out to get MWEB data from the blockchain. This will be changed in the future so that'll be controllable individually by the user. At the moment, it's not. But you do have to have, I think you have to have some specific settings on your Litecoin node. And of course, it has to be one that's more reasonably up to date to work in the first place. So yeah, I guess if that answers your question, at the moment, you can't specifically choose a node for MWEB. You can choose one for the regular Litecoin part. Near future, that'll be something that's user controllable. It's just how it came, how MWebD came. So it's something we have to change.
Okay, so MWEB uses a node that might not be listed in that node page, right? Is what I understood.
Yeah, like a peer might not be exactly the same as the one that you have selected. So.
Okay. Cool. Thank you. Yeah, that answers my question. I mean, it's it's good to know that we're going to have it eventually. It's in the docket somewhere. People are working on it.
I wouldn't believe I'm actually pulling this off. I had to relog into Twitter because
That's so evil.
It's like it forgot me.
You're trying to do something quickly and it makes you log in again. It's like,
oh man, this is a long address. I'm gonna have to put it in my pinned tweet, I think. Like it's long, right?
Yeah, I wish they had a larger limit on characters. Some people can do the like extended bio. Unfortunately, that's not exposed to the API. So if you put an address in there, it's not gonna.
You'd have to put it like at the beginning.
Yeah, it has to be at the first part or in the pinned tweet.
Okay. Let me I'm gonna have to do a post.
Okay.
And then pin that post. All right, guys, listen. Technical difficulties.
But so then at that point, you would have to choose to send it to him in MWEB, right?
No, it'll just do it automatically. So if I actually go to the send screen, basically the only reason you want to use peg in and peg out is to enhance your privacy a little bit by having those coins already be in MWEB. But you don't even have to do that necessarily. You could just go to the send screen and put in an MWEB address, and MWEBD will take transparent coins that you have and just go ahead and peg those in and send it to the address that you put in there. So you don't even have to do that. It's just kind of recommended as an extra privacy step, but it's not even necessary. So that's part of the cool part of the simplicity of this integration as well, is that you don't even have to think about it technically. You could just go to the send screen and put in a transparent address, an MWEB address. Doesn't matter how much you have on either side. MWEBD will handle any conversions necessary in the background automatically.
Yeah, the only advantage in that is that this is what David Burkett's been talking about. And I know there's some work on it about the blending of addresses, the blending of UTXOs can expose can leave a trail, I guess, of where these coins came from. The best privacy practice is to use in MWEB and stay in MWEB and not blend addresses, but it doesn't change the functionality as far as a user. So now if you type in there, let's see if this works. This is a live demo. I just put it on my pinned tweet.
All right, let's see.
So at LTC Underground. There you go. And let's see what happens here. Pull up my phone. It does feel like magic sometimes. Like, how does it ask Twitter? You send it and it ends up on my phone. That doesn't make any sense. In a completely different app. And even though I try to explain to people, I had a buddy who was having an issue with.
You know what? I got to switch to, this is a debug build. It doesn't have the keys. So let me go to the stable production build of Cake Wallet here. And another Litecoin wallet, which I don't think has funds in it.
Here, I'll send you some.
All right.
Send them back to me. I'm trusting you.
And you can send me through MWEB.
Oh, and I even have some.
And that's how, so I'll go ahead and show this part. So how you actually get your emoji address, it's very simple. You just go to receive. You click at the top and you switch from SegWit, which is the default, to MWEB. And there's your MWEB address and QR code.
Let me know when you send that, Grant. I'm gonna start timing
it.
Yeah.
Oops. Hang on a second. Keep it up there. Dang it. Come on. I want to send. Oh, I hope I'm not technically handicapped here.
Maybe someone in the audience can send some.
No, as far as I know, it's not letting me send. I might need to sync yet. Hang on a second.
It's still synchronizing.
No, but I've had it on there.
Excuse me.
But anyway, I was going to tell you a quick story. Dang, I hate when we have to wait for something. It says it's synchronizing, but I don't know why. I just had it up 2 seconds ago.
It might be catching up with, if you had it 2 seconds ago, I don't know.
Let me close
live debugging.
What I know, man. Well, I was going to tell a story. So I had a friend of mine who had reached out to me and he was trying to move some coins and it was in Light Wallet. And he was like, it just keeps telling me I can't do it. And I don't know why. And I'm going, I don't know. I went over to his house and all right, we're going to do this another way.
Let me send it. I should be able to.
Oh, okay. I'm just synchronizing my nodes. Oh, here, I don't know. But he had, essentially he had his words and everything, but there was something where it was getting locked up. He had changed phones a long time ago and he thought he had all the stuff, but just kept asking him for a pin that he punched in. Okay, let me try. I should work now. And ultimately what he had to do was, he had his words, just delete the app, re-download it, and everything was fine. And I had my sister, the same thing, something with Cake Wall. She's like, I can't see my coins. I'm like, well, look in the transactions. Is there an exit transaction? No. Okay, you're fine. Just close the app and open it back up again. For whatever reason, I don't know why, and I get it. It might be something with the software that I just don't understand. But it seems like, here we go. Now it worked. So let's see.
Sometimes that'll do it.
Hit send, Animal. Are you timing it?
Oh, I got it. Yeah.
Let's see. All right, let's go.
Let's see. It should be 2.5 minutes, right? Or whatever.
I got 0.26 unconfirmed now.
Oh, Animal only sent you. He's cheap. He only sent you 0.01.
We don't need more than that. It's just an example. Come on.
You don't trust this guy?
So that I sent that. That was like 10 seconds, dude.
Yeah.
Honestly.
So that's interesting. That's
Super
that
fast.
fast. Is it
And I
possible?
know if it's, I'm assuming you guys sent coins that were already in MWEB.
Yep.
If you do, it's even quicker than if you have to do a peg-in. So it should be confirmed pretty
That's
fast.
ridiculous.
Yeah, it's unconfirmed. It's unconfirmed. So it might be 2.5 to 5 minutes where we can test this out. But in the meantime, yeah, that shows the receiving. You just had to receive with an MWEB address, which you showed that, right? That drop down where you changed the address. All right, sorry, I was looking at my Twitter stuff so long.
It's just so by default it'll be on SegWit. So you open the receive screen, you'll have your typical LTC one SegWit address. You just go to the top here, you tap on that, and then you tap MWEB, and that's your MWEB address.
Okay, cool. And
so
then,
now if I go ahead into the send screen, let's make sure I get your username correctly here.
Yeah, you had it. I was right.
Hopefully it should.
Just send me the whole 0.26. Don't worry about animals' money.
Well, you're welcome to it, dude.
That's 7 cents.
Well, is this
70
this
cents?
is
It's like $1.50. Yeah.
well, it doesn't seem to want to show up.
Dang it. I have it in my pinned tweet. I think I've got it right.
Let's make sure. Yeah, it looks.
So maybe
it looks right. Let me see. I don't know. Sometimes there's some weird regex issues that are hard to.
All right, maybe I shouldn't have pushed the limits, right? I got greedy.
Let me try my boss. Let's try Vic, because he actually has one. Oh, okay. I don't know why his shows up. He has a MWEB address, and yeah, LTC MWEB. So that's weird. Maybe it's a Twitter. It's possible a Twitter API thing. Yeah, I don't know. It is.
I literally just posted it like a minute ago. So
is it case sensitive? Maybe.
The username. Well, let's see. Let's make sure I
no, he had it right at LTC.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Or maybe do it all lowercase. See what happens. I don't know. Yeah, I'm surprised they have capitals in. No, it's probably because I just did it, but it does work for Vic. So that's good.
It does work for Vic.
You can give Vic a quarter of a Litecoin. He needs it.
I can copy this address directly. And...
Have a drink, Vic. Have a drink on me. I know he does. Although he said he's not drinking, I don't think.
Yeah, he's not much of a drinker.
I read a post that he's stopped drinking. Not that he was like a drinker or anything.
Yeah, I don't think he ever.
He's in the comments. That's why I'm talking. That's why I'm talking about him.
Oh, is he? I should open the comment section. Yeah, Vic, your bird pay works. So unfortunately, LTC Underground doesn't seem to be working.
It just took. I bet you it's because I just did it. So maybe it takes.
It might be a weird API thing. I'm not sure. But yeah, as you can see, that's bird pay, and it works for any coin we support. And for special coins like Bitcoin and Litecoin that have the extra addresses, so like Bitcoin has the silent payments address, Litecoin has the MWEB now, it can pull those up too. So you see I put in Vic's Twitter handle with the @ in front of it, and it went ahead and just added his LTC MWEB address there. Now I'll be nice and I'll go ahead and copy your address directly and send you all that back.
So okay, sounds good.
Address directly.
And I'll buy Animal like a piece of candy at the store or something with his.
Let's try to do. Oh, is it confirmed yet? Still 70 cents. Still says unconfirmed.
Anyway, so well, yeah, I mean, you can get into this. You don't need to do this right this second. But I do kind of want to explore some of the other things.
There it is.
Yeah, you should be good, right?
Friendly tip, guys. Sometimes something that's just like not updating, you just do a quick pull down to refresh, and oftentimes that'll fix a state issue. Just do a pull down to refresh. So I'll go ahead and send all this now to you, and that should be your address, your LTC MWEB address. All right, I'm just going to do all here and send. And there's your address. There's the fee amount. And we're going to send that. And yeah, the fees on MWEB it's like practically nothing. And that should be it. You should be receiving this back.
All right, we're going to time it, right? That's what we're doing. Oh, it already I mean, it already registers as pending, so it's almost instantaneous as far as that. But all right.
Oh, this Block Explorer is giving me a bad gateway. Guess we need to replace this Block Explorer, huh? Whatever block chair.
We got
there
a pretty
it goes.
well, yeah, we got a good one called lightspace.org. Is that it? Or yeah. I don't know if it'll work with MWEB. Not yet.
You know what's funny? There have been early on MWEB transactions, block explorers that have a hard time figuring them out. And
well, I mean, what's cool is that if you can actually view one that supports MWEB, it's like, oh, you can't see certain information anyway, because it's not going to be able to show it to you. So this is all the information you get. Pending confirmations. It doesn't even have a time. This might just be because this blockchain explorer doesn't support MWEB very well. But you're not going to see who got it, and you're not going to see the amount. So
I wonder if MWEB, because there is a MWEB Explorer website. I wonder if that was mostly just to monitor activity and coins inside, but I don't know if it actually tracks transactions. And I think it's called MWebExplorer.com. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
I don't know.
The other one is litecoinspace.org, but this.
So I can paste the transaction ID here.
Well, because it's still pending. That's why. But I will say, MWEB went over 100,000 coins. So since this implementation, I think about 40,000 coins have been added into MWEB. I'm assuming a lot of it has to do with Cake. I would encourage people to use it as your default. There's no reason not to do it. It doesn't cost you anything more. It helps to have more transactions, and it helps everybody's privacy. And yeah, that was an anomaly. We don't know who or what that was.
This is an interesting
whoever
chart.
that is. Yeah, whoever that was.
This we could just take out of the picture.
That was
this part.
Yeah,
is what actually matters. So, beginning of the year, there was around 20,000 LTC, and as the year has gone by, it's gone to over 100,000. So that's a huge increase. And MWEB and Cake Wallet came out right around. I think we had a beta right around this time, like June-ish area. And especially July was when we started pushing it more. And since then, it's basically doubled. So that's cool to see that people are actually putting a lot of Litecoin into MWEB now.
Yeah, this might end up being a really good monitor of general activity of Litecoin, right? It's like if people are using it and they're engaging with it, that's a good representation of people, using the tools, right? If it just sits dead, then who's really using it? Which brings me to Bitcoin silent payments. Do you see a lot of uptake on Bitcoin silent payments?
So the way silent payments works, it's actually impossible to calculate how many people are actually using silent payments, which is unfortunate, but it's cool, and it's partially purposeful. On the Bitcoin blockchain itself, silent payments transactions look like standard Taproot transactions. You have no way of actually knowing if it's a silent payments transaction or not. So unfortunately, we don't have any metrics for that. But there's definitely a lot of Cake Wallet users that use silent payments, and there's definitely a lot of support tickets for issues that people have with it. So we can say in that regard,
that's cool,
of people that our own customer base uses it. And yeah, silent payments is another one of those Cake unique features right now. So MWEB, I believe, is not fully unique to Cake Wallet. Is there another Litecoin wallet you can use MWEB with?
Not
a new
yet.
breed. Yeah, it's a Light Wallet Alpha build, but not officially. So I think you guys are definitely the first official wallet to support MWEB.
I see, especially probably in this capacity.
In
mobile. Okay. And that would be the same for silent payments. We're the only, I think both mobile and desktop wallet to support silent payments for Bitcoin. There's some other wallets that support sending the silent payments addresses, because doing that part is easy. The harder part is handling the receiving on the client side. I think we're the only wallet that has support for that at the moment, which is It's cool. It's unfortunate. So we're trying to really, because a lot of the mainstream wallets and a lot of the more popular wallets, they're just not interested in touching this kind of stuff. So we're really trying to be the first ones who can push it forward. And hopefully the ideal scenario is that other wallets will follow and also adopt these new standards and these new privacy features. If it's just Cakewallet that has it, that's cool. That's like a unique feature for us. And it's like, hey, you want to use this? You have to use Cakewallet. But at the end of the day, it doesn't really accomplish our mission, which is to have everybody be able to use this in a way that's compatible. And if we're the only wallet that has these features, then it's only Cake people that get to use these features. And it would be nice if everyone else supported these. So that's one of our hopes by being the first implementation of this, is that we're going to take the plunge. We're going to deal with some of the weird stuff, but we're going to show that it works and that we have code that people can look at if they want to try and adapt that and see how we've integrated like MWEB, for instance. And hopefully other wallets will start to adopt it and decide to implement it as well.
Now, Cake Pay, this makes me think about, like, if Cake Pay is, I mean, I'm assuming you do a lot of business on Cake Pay. I use it. That uses what platform does that use for its cards?
Oh, Cake Pay. Yeah. So we do have a partner who's like they're like a card reseller.
Yep.
And we basically just offer their cards up on our own front end for basically for cost. Yeah. So we actually don't charge a fee on our end at all. You buy a $100 Amazon gift card, you get a $100 Amazon gift card,
right?
For that much amount of money. And the advantage with Cake Pay is that, well, you can pay directly with basically any crypto you want. I don't think Litecoin MWEB is supported at this time as Trocador. I don't know if Trocador supports Litecoin MWEB yet. I'm not 100% sure on that. I know BTC Pay Server doesn't have MWEB support. Hopefully that'll be something that'll come down the road in the future. But you can basically buy a card on Cake Pay with any crypto, and we basically handle that crypto part on our end. So you can just go into Cake Pay either on the website, or you can do it from the app on the Cake features page. Just swiping over, you can go to Cake Pay, and you can choose any card you want. So I've got Amazon.com here. I can just put in $100 for Amazon.com. I can buy now and purchase, and it'll make me put an email and account that I want set up. But once you do this, it'll allow you to send a transaction, and depending on what wallet you're in, it should allow you to just send, since you're in Litecoin already, it should just let you send a Litecoin transaction to that. Now, there was one thing to note, is that we use BTC Pay Server primarily for taking payment. And at the moment, we only natively support Monero and Bitcoin. Everything else goes through Trocador, a plugin that just automatically swaps it over. We'll probably I've talked about this before, but I'll probably go ahead and add Litecoin, because Litecoin's super easy and to add and to have natively in BTC Pay. So if people want to pay with Litecoin, it'll be quicker through the native integration instead of the plugin. So we'll probably do that. But yeah, and there's a lot of options too. The availability will depend on what country you're in. So if you're from USA has the most options, of course. But if you're in Ukraine,
USA,
that's right.
Oh no!
Oh no, none found for Ukraine at the moment. And I mean, the availability will change as well. Like what you see now is not what will always be available. So there's Iceland. Iceland has just 2, but it's the debit card. So these you can use for basically anything.
Yeah.
Virtual prepaid debit card there. The availability will change depending on what our provider has at the time. But if you're in the US, then you've got a lot of options.
Canada? Can you try Canada?
Yep.
What kind of, if any, KYC is there? Are there limits, or like if someone wants to buy $10,000 worth of Amazon gift cards, is that going to raise a flag somewhere? Or?
Yeah, that's a good question. So we do have a daily limit per user, which is about $10,000. And there's no KYC after that or anything. We just don't let you purchase anymore after 10K, because if we do that, that brings in some legal stuff that we want to just avoid. Now, all the other cards are pretty much good to go. You can just buy them with XMR. All Cake Pay requires is an email address to send you the code, and that's it. There is a caveat if you're buying the Visa debit cards, though. If you're buying these prepaid cards, so if you're buying like this one,
you're in the wrong country, I think. Oh, here you go.
Well, this is for Canada, yeah. So if you're purchasing a debit card, like one of the prepaid Visas or MasterCards, which some of these do work with, like Apple Pay and Google Wallet, so you can actually use some of these in person, which is pretty cool. The providers for these cards do ask for like all of your information. You don't have to send them a picture of your ID, but they do ask you for like name and address and phone number. So that's just one thing we can't avoid with the debit cards, unfortunately. But if you were to buy like an Amazon gift card, there's nothing. You might have to go through a couple portals to get the card and put in codes a couple times. But once you get the code, I mean, that's it. There's nothing before that'll ask you for your information or like your address or anything for like an Amazon gift card or like maybe an eBay one if there's an eBay one on here.
Those are great Christmas presents.
They are. Yeah. And I've used it for that before.
Yeah, I know. I did that a few years ago. I bought some splurged for my family for gift cards because you never know what they want, right? Well, okay, really quick. So I don't, again, you're kind of up against a clock here. Can you just show me how, Nano GPT, we had, I don't want to dive in too deeply. We had, Milan a couple weeks ago. So he went through it, but so you just click on it and ask questions and it pulls straight out of your wallet, or how does that work?
Yeah. So this is more of like an external integration than an internal one. So you click on this and it just opens a custom version of the Nano GPT website. That's for us basically. And you can go ahead and you can go ahead and deposit funds. So if you just go to the side here, wallets, you can add, right now, our instance supports Nano, or you can use the exchange to basically use anything. We're adding native support for other coins soon. I think the official Nano GPT instance has support for like Bitcoin Cash and a couple other options. I'm not sure off the top of my head.
Litecoin too, yeah.
Oh, does that have support for Litecoin now on the official?
Yeah, actually,
awesome.
When we had Milan on, he and his devs pushed the change live that enabled it. I guess they just had BTC Pay server update.
Oh, that's cool. That's awesome.
Yeah, it was pretty dope.
Yeah, that'll be coming to our instance very soon then.
That pulls straight from your wallet then?
Yeah, so what'll happen is it'll create a payment URI, which will then open in Cake Wallet and go ahead and pre-fill all the payment details. Let's go ahead and try this here.
Yeah, that's fine.
I might have to do open Cake Wallet. I just choose Cake Wallet there. Hopefully, yeah. So it's going to complain since this is the incorrect.
Since you're not in the
wallet.
You're not
but
in
if I go and just make a Nano wallet real quick, it'll should be fine.
The downright clam. That was my other nickname in high school. Slow vulture.
Yeah, this is the nice part about this integration is that since you already have Cake installed, you can just open with Cake. And since I have multiple copies of Cake, this won't be for you. It'll just automatically open a Cake. And then you just put in the amount you want and that's it, which is nice. It's just a little bit nicely integrated. It just pre-fills.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. Well, then, so the other one is that I don't understand this other one because this is a new one I saw and I haven't even messed with it all. Is that sign and verify messages? What is that all about?
Yep. So this is something I think that's more common in the Bitcoin space, but you can actually sign a message with your private key, and then you can verify. So it's like how GPT works, right? Public key encryption, where you can sign a message with a key, and then other people are able to verify that message based on your public key, and they're able to verify that it actually came from you or the specific private key based on the public key. So that's basically all that is. It's just the ability to sign a message or something in particular, and then other people can verify it based on a public key.
What are people using that for?
I honestly haven't seen a lot of uses for this in the wild. I've seen some Bitcoin people, like on forums and stuff, they'll sign their messages with their like a Bitcoin, like a pub key.
That's what Craig Wright was meant to do, right? With the Satoshi stash, but failed to do so.
Yeah, I think so. But I honestly don't see like a ton of people use this, but it was something that we added. Just it's more of like a power user feature. We might remove it from here and add it somewhere else because it's not commonly used. But yeah, that's all that's for really.
I mean, it might be cool to send merchants like a thank you or something, or to send a customer a thank you, or maybe I don't know, whatever, a coupon code for their next transaction. Yeah, I mean, there's utility there. Just people have to implement it, I guess.
Yeah, and it's not even like a message on the blockchain. It's like you have to send this message.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not even
Yeah.
doesn't even go that far. If it did, I could see a use for that being the case, but it doesn't even go that far.
Is it like to time? I mean, the value is maybe time stamping it.
Well, it's like it's just like PGP, right?
Okay.
Or the enhanced version of that GPG, where like an email, if you want to use, if you want to encrypt your email, a common way to do that is with a PGP key, where the email is encrypted with a PGP key, and somebody else has the public key. Or well, that not even with encryption necessarily, but just signing. So like message signing, where somebody can sign a message with something that can only be decoded using the public key of that matches that private key. So it proves that user is the person who signed that message, if that makes sense. And you can use GPT for encryption as well. This doesn't even do that. This is just purely for message signing.
Okay. So
not to try and convolute it.
Like magic. Would analogy be like those old magic markers you'd have as a kid where like the message would disappear, but you could like somebody else, if they knew it was there, they could decode it. They could see it.
Yeah, like I guess sort of in a way, if it was PGP encryption, but in this case,
yeah.
it's just signing. So
just to prove you are who you say you are.
Exactly. Exactly.
I got a couple other questions real quickly because I know you got to leave soon. It has to do with like what's next with Cake Wallet. Do you have any plans? Okay, look, this is going to be annoying for Grant, I know, but I'm a Scrypt maxi, so I'm a huge fan of Dogecoin and now Bell's Coin, and of course Litecoin and MWEB. Are there any plans for maybe a Dogecoin or a Bell's Coin wallet, or even beyond that? What about ordinals? Are you guys looking at any of that?
Yeah, there's definitely been some talks about Dogecoin. There's always a few people now and then that request a Dogecoin. We may do Dogecoin at some point. I know it's an easy one to implement, but every cryptocurrency we implement does add a little bit of dev burden, so we are trying to be more careful because we have a lot now. But yeah, that's definitely something that we can consider. And then ordinals for like Bitcoin and Litecoin, yeah, that's definitely something that we're considering down the line for sure. We do have a lot of stuff we're trying to finish up at the moment. Like we've got some special Monero stuff that we're working on for the community. And we have a lot of, we're basically trying to go on a bit of a feature freeze because there's a lot of features that we have worked on this year that we're trying to finish up. And there's some stuff that we need to do still. There's just a lot of things that partners want to integrate with us all the time. So we're trying to take a break from that so we can focus on polishing the app and the experience itself. But yeah, ordinals, I definitely like to see ordinals myself. That would be really cool. I do actually I bought a Litecoin ordinal at the Litecoin Nashville conference. It was like one of those chickens, a base chicken.
What about, because I know there was some
guy,
right?
Yes, I do. Yep. I have one of those guys. That's right.
What about Thorchain? Because wasn't there some conversation at some point about implementing
the ability we have Thorchain.
Stake?
We didn't even talk about swaps. Yeah.
Can you stake on Thorchain?
If you can, not through Cake. We just have Thorchain implemented as a swap provider, essentially.
Okay.
You got a bunch of swap providers up there.
We do. We do have a lot.
And how does it choose? Does it just automatically look for the lowest fees? Best rate?
Exactly. Yeah. So you'll make a quote here. So I'll just do like 0.001 BTC. And it will go ahead and do an API request to all of those and choose the best rate. So if I go ahead and click swap here now, if I got to put in let's just do optimal dog sled swap.
It'd be cool if you
and it went ahead and it chose Exolix, and that it just chose that one based on the availability and the best rate. So
that's amazing. That's such honestly underrated feature. This thing is like one of the most powerful DeFi wallets I feel now.
So Vic is commenting. He says, I know you got a couple minutes, but he says, we do have a special Litecoin feature coming too. Listen, there's been a lot of consternation about what there was supposed to be a promised birthday surprise on Litecoin. It hasn't come to fruition. So maybe it has something to do with that. I don't know. And then he wants you to demo the sign verify. I don't know if
Oh, I can show it. Let's see, which wallet is
Sure, why
this?
not?
Yeah, I can use this Bitcoin wallet. Sign verify. Yeah, so I'll just
Yeah, go ahead.
type a message here. Test
We got
message.
we got 20 minutes for a block to clear. That's good.
And I'll go ahead and sign it with this address.
So even though you don't have a
Sign
balance
message.
with it, it's just more. Yeah, okay, go ahead.
So this is all it is, right? I put in a message and I sign it, and I can basically take these values. So I'll take this test message, copy, paste, and I'll take the same address, paste, and then I'll copy the signature. Oh, already copied, paste, and verify. And I can verify this message was signed by basically this address because it has this signature. That's all that is.
Okay.
So if there's somebody that has a known associated like Bitcoin address, this is the purpose of that. It's like signing with PGP. You're able to use that known address. It's like your public key, right? And you can sign messages, and you can take that signature and attach it to like let's say you're a common user of the Bitcoin talk forum. You can attach a signature to your message, and then people are able to validate that it was actually signed by you.
Okay.
Hash against a public key and see that
And that's
adds
it.
up.
Doesn't require the blockchain. It's just basically public key.
Gotcha.
Cool.
Okay.
So,
Interesting.
It's a small client side function.
Yep. And I think that works with basically any coin on here. So you can do the Litecoin too if you want.
Okay.
Right on.
I'll have to experiment with that. That's one of those. It's like you wonder if there's use cases that we just haven't figured out yet for it. So, well, do you have to? If you got to run, it's 11 o'clock. I know you said you had to go, so I think we're going to plan on hanging around a little bit and chat. What'd you say?
Unfortunately.
Yeah, that's all right. That's all right. You gave us a lot, and I appreciate you coming on. And I think I'd like to try to get Cake, you guys maybe 6 months or so, just to get an update on what's going on and if there's a new feature coming up. So appreciate you coming on. Is there anything else you want to say before you go?
Of course. Thank you for having me on. Yeah, guys, if you want to try MWEB, you could go ahead and get Cake Wallet. It's available on all platforms. MWEB, though, is available only on iOS and Android. So that's another minor limitation right now, but the majority of the users who use Cake Wallet use it on the phone. It's the best experience on mobile right now. So you can get it on the Google Play Store, get it on the App Store. But if you want to avoid using those, because I know some people do, on Android, you can actually get the APK directly from our GitHub. You can use our F-Droid repository, and it's also coming to a couple other FOSS stores soon. So if you're big on that on Android, you can use those alternative methods. Otherwise, on iOS, you can just get it from the App Store.
All right. Well, thanks a lot.
Thank you so much.
We're going to keep hanging around and chatting, but you have a good one.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Yep. Bye.
Take care.
All right. I'm getting different chats here. All right. Well, did you learn anything?
Yeah, man. No, that was a good talk for sure. We had I really was curious about the node thing, and running your own node and being able to sign your own MWEB transactions. So it's good to know that they're working on that they have something that they're that they're trying to work through those roadblocks. And I mean, yeah, like Cake is such a freaking great wallet, man. Honestly, what it's done or what it's going to be doing and what it's done so far for MWEB and MWEB adoption, I think is second to none. So yeah, man, I wish these guys all the success in the world. I think, the wallet's got a bright future. They're responsive. They have a great team. I met some of them at the Litecoin Summit. They're super chill at their booths. I got a free jacket, really nice rain jacket. It's pretty cool. Yeah, nothing bad to say, man. It was good. He answered all of our questions. We didn't even talk about MoonPay or being able to buy and sell crypto through that app. There's tons of features there, and like you said, like everyone should go download it, check it out, play with it.
Well, it's funny because there's so many wallets where, I mean, again, I don't use a lot of wallets. It was funny because I remember, God, this is like a couple years ago, Johnny Litecoin came in, and I was kind of like, what? I don't understand what the difference. Like, why would I use one wallet or the other? What's the advantages of one versus the other? And it does come down to kind of personal preference, but so many coins, especially when they have a lot of assets on them, they're like they're these multi-coin wallets where somebody else is holding your coins, and you may feel like that's not the case sometimes, but having one where I have my own wallet for each one uniquely, I can create like unlimited numbers of wallets for different purposes. It just makes it, the UI is so nice. That's what I think makes it easy to talk about. It makes it, they sponsor it, but I don't have any, I would use it regardless, right? It's
Definitely.
those assets, the things that's so good. And you wonder, like other wallets, I do like Light Wallet. I use Light Wallet a little bit, but it's hard for them to keep up, right? It's a nonprofit, and they're trying to add features, but the reality is when you have, Cake Wallet has the users, they have a revenue stream with swaps and all that type of stuff, so it makes more sense for them to continue to add features, and that's like a whole free market discussion, right? The more users, the better.
It's a positive feedback loop, right? Like they've got swaps and all this stuff, and so people just keep coming back, right? And I mean, Light Wallet does have that beta, and I have used it, and it works well, but I think it's not the point where they want it to be yet, so they're not releasing it to the public. But and I think it's competition's good, and the more people that implement this, and the easier I guess I don't want to say the foundation, but the easier it is for people to do that with there's like the Litecoin dev kit that they're working on, the better it'll be. This is a decentralized space, so competition's good. The more wallets we have, the better. I think Cake Wallet definitely set the bar really high. And I don't know if anyone, but maybe X in the future will be able to do something as good or better. But yeah, that's still a long ways off, and who knows what they'll bring, what kind of limitations they'll have. I think, I'm just grateful that Cake Wallet's there.
I talk about this all the time. The best thing that Litecoin has going for it is users, and I know if you look at the user base of Cake Wallet, it's primarily a Monero wallet. I think maybe half or 60% of their users are Monero, or from whatever statistics they're able to kind of glean off of it, like cards sold and swaps and that type of stuff. But we've heard so often people, to get into Monero, they buy Litecoin, they put it on Cake Wallet, they swap into Monero. And the users are what make these features possible. And I think, again, what I feel like Litecoin, there was a big criticism of Litecoin for a long time, where like there's no devs, there's no work being done on it. And it feels like we've gotten to the point where the users are there on Litecoin, so that there doesn't need to be some sort of white hat dev network that's doing all this work because they love the coin. There's businesses that are doing the work because the users are there. And so that's ultimately what you want it to be, this organic free market thing where people are wanting to add features for Litecoin users because people want to use Litecoin. So it's all about users.
I mean, Litecoin is pretty, Litecoin works. Like, what else do we need to add to Litecoin at this point? I'm sure the foundation I know is working on stuff, but as a technology, as a machine, it's fully functional. It's efficient, and there aren't many gains to be made there, I don't think. So for the foundation, I mean, people are saying like more features, and like honestly, it's what we need is more companies like Cake integrating it.
Right.
And so the foundation is working on making that easier. They're trying to set up a development kit, an environment that's hospitable to developers, to third parties. And that is being worked on, but I mean, it's not easy to do. They are a nonprofit, so it's not like they've got the budget of a Google or something just to throw developers on the case. They've got a handful of developers, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, if people are complaining or they want to see more happen, Check out the bounty page at light.space. There's a general fund. Feel free to donate. I think that the money's going to be used responsibly. If you're an American, that's a tax write-off if you donate to the foundation. They got that license, basically makes them a nonprofit that you can donate and get a tax return on. Yeah.
Ultimately the effort, I think, as users, people, because we had, if you guys, just to kind of reflect, if you weren't in our space on Wednesday, we did unrecorded spaces. We kind of gave some heat to the foundation, and Robbie came in, and it was, I don't think it was like super contentious or anything, but I think everybody finds frustration. And I was talking to Animal before we started this about, there's definitely like a culture, maybe it's an internet culture, maybe it's just people have just the way they see the world, that like they just want someone else to do something for them without any expectation of having to lift a finger. And it's like, if it's just such a crazy way to look at the world.
For sure. When they can meet us halfway, like Charlie is matching donations, right? So he's set himself a budget.
My point was, like, something that I even wrote it down while Tuxedo was talking. He talked about Trocador app, that he's not sure if they take MWEB today. This isn't there's nothing the Litecoin Foundation is going to do to make Trocador do this. It's going to come from users saying, hey, can you add this feature? Maybe it's just a matter of uploading or updating their node. That's not something that's the responsibility of the foundation to do. It's not, they can only do so much of that too. Like, they don't know what you want. So I think I've made some comments to that Coin Poker. I think it's Coin Poker Official or something is their Twitter. Granted, I've only made a couple comments. I've messaged them, but like, they have Bitcoin and Ethereum. Why don't they add Litecoin? It would be easier for their users to have Litecoin accessibility. So those things are only going to come from simply asking. I mean, it is surprising how often people will do something if you just ask them, hey, can you add this feature? Or do you need if I could give you some help in adding this feature? And that's when you might have the foundation to say, hey, I've got this opportunity to add Litecoin to a heavily trafficked site. Can we do it? I would think that those are the types of things as users we can do to help the foundation, frankly, because there are only so many people. They have only so many eyes to see these things. And so, it is tough. I get it. Frustration. Coin price has been frustrating the shit out of everybody. That's flat out.
So I think that is like also at the heart of the problem, right? I mean, if we had a nice pump, if we hit all-time highs, people would come, more people would be looking, and things would get done on their own.
They'd be praising the foundation.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So, yeah, there's definitely apps out there, and that might be things that we can do. I guess even bring things to my attention. If you guys have apps that you wish we could be added to, or services that you wish were Litecoin, I'm happy to spread the word as much as I possibly can. I know we did that with Spritz Finance. I had some frustration with them because they put out there all the time, hey, tell us what coins you want to add. And for about 2 years, Litecoin's been the top requested one. And every time you ask, they just go, hey, just request it. It's like, well, what? I've requested it.
There is a feature request. It's got like 50 something likes. It's the second most requested feature by their own website. So yeah, I don't know what's up with that.
But you just keep on them and understand that these are businesses. They're not your personal servants. They may have more going on, and there may be reasons why not. So it's tough. It is tough when the price isn't, if you're here specifically for the price and the price doesn't move, it gets very frustrating. I mean,
it's an opportunity just to DCA a little bit harder, I guess. I mean, if you look at, like, the way I see things, it's just in a matter of time before the market corrects for Litecoin and it does get back to it. I don't know if we're going to see a Doge type of pump that that we saw in 2021, but could. I feel like the
What?
sentiment around Litecoin now is pretty negative. People are probably being shaken out, which is a great time for larger institutions to start, packing their bags, right? Like we got Canary Capital that's applying for a Litecoin ETF. If that gets approved, which it's looking more likely than ever, then I think we'll see a resurgence in the price action. Hopefully.
Yeah, I had a friend who
Not financial advice.
I mentioned this. Yeah, don't. He, I guess on Reddit, there's a faction of people that are like, oh well, I think I told you this. Miners are mining. They're mining, merge mining, and then they're selling the Litecoin. And we've seen, you even mentioned before we got on the air, like how much more profitable script mining is, and why aren't these Bitcoin miners mining Litecoin as well? When they probably are, and they're probably selling the Litecoin. I mean, that's
they won't admit it. I swear,
yeah,
if you're a giant miner like Riot, or I guess Riot, who else? Bitfarms and the other guys. If you're mining script, man, please just shout us out. Like, just tell us, man, because it's crazy. Like,
go ahead.
So I'm just looking for the post that I replied to. It's crazy how much more profitable it is watt per watt to mine Scrypt. I don't know if you want to throw it up on your screen. I'll send you the link. But
yeah, hang on. Sorry, I was trying to find how many coins on this same note. You have to share. Can you share your screen?
Okay. Yeah, 1 sec. I'll just bring this.
But so while you're doing that, why Litecoin had posted something, and I know this has been a thing about miners dumping coins, right? And actually, my friend did the same thing. He sent me that same chart. And he's like, see, everybody's dumping their coins, the miners. And I'm like, yeah, that's good. That's giving you, I mean, he's been stacking for 5 years. So while they've been dumping their coins for 5 years, they've been suppressing the price and you've been scooping up these coins, right? And they're running out. And it's at 2.3 million. And it was, let me find the over 5 years. Yeah. So it was, their reserves dropped by 12 million plus during that time frame, like 20 million coins were mined. So it was like over the course of whatever the last 4 years, miners have essentially put 30, almost half the supply of all Litecoin that will ever exist have been flooding the market for the last 3 years. And granted, that has a lot to do with why has the price not gone up?
The same thing was happening with Dogecoin, right? Beforehand, like script miners were, they were selling their Doge for Litecoin, right? When Litecoin was pumping and Doge was at like, I don't know, 20 sats or something. They were just dumping their Doge, and that was reflected in the price. So we could be seeing something like that now. It's possible that Scrypt miners are selling their bells and their Litecoin and buying Doge with it. That would make sense economically. It would make sense for sure, especially when you have someone like Elon, who's been in the past extremely vocal about his affinity for it.
Yep.
I've got it up on my screen now if you want to.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so this is a device comparison, right? In US dollars, electricity cost is 1 cent here. Between
10 cents. I think it's 10 cents.
Sorry, 10 cents. Excuse me. Yep. 10 cents per kilowatt hour. I think that's probably low, but this is what we got in my area.
It's pretty close. I think mine's like 12 cents. Yeah, okay. So it's not. But some part, like I think California is like 25 or 30. It just depends on where you're at.
Right. Yeah. So, okay. We're taking the top of the line SHA-256 miner, the S21 Hydro, 335 terahashes versus the Bitmain L9. Now, let me see if
I'd be curious to see the L7 too, but.
Yeah, we can do that too. If we go to Antminer, we'll just get some prices here so we know what the prices are for these things. So it's $6,000. Okay, just to be fair.
Yep.
And
almost 7, but all right. I like to be accurate.
Yeah. We'll go here to script. What the heck?
That's weird. Maybe they're not. They might be sold out. That's a lot of times what happens.
Oh, here we go. Yeah, they're sold out, but it's 11K. Okay, so it is definitely on the pricier side. Maybe we could compare it with the with this L7, which is more comparable in price, right?
Yeah, pretty close.
So we can do that. Just go L7. It's like a last
L7,
generation thing.
they were a good rock band in the early 90s. Do you remember them?
Who?
L7.
No, I don't remember them. In the 90s, yeah.
Back in the 90s, they had real feminists, girl bands like rockin', and they had, what was the festival? You remember the festival they had every year? Lilith Fair? That was the feminists I grew up with. But all right, go ahead. Start mining.
Yeah. I'm Canadian, don't forget, so maybe we didn't have that here. But yeah, okay, so we're taking top of line SHA-256 with last gen's L7 or script miner. You can see right away the profit is dramatic. Like, it doesn't even make sense. I don't get it. It doesn't make sense how much, like, it's an order of magnitude more profitable. And if you look at the wattage, so here we can see this is 3,000 watts. You're using 3,400 watts versus 5,360 watts for SHA-256.
Wait, so, well, that's profitability. Up there is profitability. So it's
yeah, but that considers that factors in. We did put our 10-cent electricity, right? Electricity price. Make it make sense, Grant. Make it make sense. I don't.
Well, because I mean, if you look at Bitmain, there's no machines available. So as soon as they're available, they're being bought.
Yeah, no, and I mean, definitely we have some competition coming. But this blows my mind.
Well, go to the L9. I'm curious the L9 difference, because obviously the L9 supposedly is more efficient, and you're making a bigger investment up front. Is that daily income?
Yeah, we got daily. We can choose. Where is it? We do 1 week, 1 month.
Okay,
but yeah, we'll keep it a daily. So I'll do it right there. L9. Yeah. Calculate. Boom.
Holy shit.
Yeah. Make it make sense, man.
And that costs about what was it? Maybe 50% more. That was like 11. Damn, $30 a day. Jesus. Yeah. See, this type of stuff makes me, every time I watch this, I go, I'm going to get back into mining. But then I'm like, this is at the bottom of the market. I mean, basically, I think we could say that things aren't exactly, kicking ass in price. So if the price triples, then that profitability triples.
Dude, I think the next batch of L9s are going to be double the price.
Could be.
Yeah, when they come back out, I think S-script miners they're gonna see a huge price surge going forward. They're probably gonna sell like hotcakes.
Pull up, do a month. I'm kind of curious what you would make in a month.
$1,000.
Then minus your costs. What does it say for profit?
Electricity cost, profit. Yeah. Still like $800,
So you get your money back in, what are we talking? About 14 to 15 months, assuming nothing changes. But obviously competition will increase, and that's, mining is we had mini mines on. It's a serious business. If you try to do it yourself, just be aware it's it's a lot, because the thing is always like, well, if I have $12,000, should I just go buy the coins? You're kind of guaranteed a certain amount of coins if you buy them. Obviously, just on the market, what would $12,000 in coins cost you? I don't even know. Divided by $70.
That's always the question, right? Like, when the prices are low like this, chances are you're better served just buying the coins straight. It's less of a headache, because running a mining farm is, you need the space, you need at least a really big closet with some good ventilation, Yeah. And then you're living with these things. If you're doing this in your house, forget about it. Not with these miners. Not with this thing. This is uninhabitable. You got to put it in your basement with soundproofing. Like, it's not feasible. Ask me how I know. Like, it's not like it sounds like a jet engine. That said, there is a Locotech miner.
I built out I put them in, and I built out this little frame around. So I had a chimney or a fireplace I wasn't using. It's actually right behind me here. And so I built a frame to mount all the machines on. And my thought was I'll just exhaust everything out of the chimney, right?
Mm-hmm.
The amount of air is just it's hard to grasp, like how much air pressure is being pushed into that. So like just having a passive exhaust where I'm just, oh, it's hot air, it'll just blow right up the chimney and go far away. No, you had to force the air up. So putting some sort of fan to pull air out,
Right.
is
Which I
needed.
think most chimneys have anyways, right?
Not
No?
here.
Okay.
I've never seen that before, actually. But so then I had to like create, like you said, I built this thing, a frame, a piece of foam where I'd back the fans up and just the opening of the fan would be there. So it was, and I taped that thing to the wall. So there's no way that air was going to come back out. I was forcing it up basically.
Jesus.
And then I built like a little mini room around it with insulation because of the sound. Like you're saying, like I had to have, you'd go insane if you didn't have some sort of sound barrier. And it worked. But yeah, it was a lot bigger undertaking. I bit off way more than I could chew. I think you could do 1 or 2 machines like that. You could stick one in an old fireplace, seal it up, and it's going to run fine. The other part is the air that it sucks into the house, because again, you're creating a vacuum. So that air has to come from somewhere, and it's going to pull. If you got an opening in your attic for an attic fan, it's going to pull the air. And when you open the door, it's going to slam shut because you got so much negative pressure. It's just fun. It's just stuff you don't think about when you're in your mind. You're like, oh, just plug it in and go. Like there's a lot of physical, there's a physical reality to it. So the immersion cooling would probably be the way to go if you're going to do
That's
it.
what Nathan from Mini Minds was doing. And he was actually saying that it's possible, like he's got a design that he made to do like an immersion tank. Like he would share that. And it's possible to build that yourself. Although that is like still like I don't know how many miners he said you could put in there, like a dozen or so. Still quite a lot of work and quite a bit of space you need for it, but much quieter. Like he was saying that he had this immersion tank at an Airbnb that he owned at some point, and it was hashing while the guests were upstairs, vacationing, and nobody knew. It sounded like an air conditioner or something, as opposed to a jet engine. Yeah, it looks like, I'm just looking at Locotech now. They have this cool hash blade. It looks like they're all out, but this thing fits into a GPU slot of your computer, and I believe it's much quieter. Also works well with immersion cooling, but it doesn't sound like
you need to cool that thing. I think that has passive cooling, right?
Really? That's super impressive. I don't believe it. But like,
cooled by either air or immersion. Sorry, I'm wrong.
Yeah. So if you look at the full stack here, they do have cooling. So this is a stack of 12 hash blades, right? Now, if anyone bought these when they were still available, good job, because I think it was like the smartest buy of the year. Of course, we haven't seen them.
I don't think they've produced anything yet.
No, we haven't seen them produce something. But if they do, which I do think it's quite, I think they will.
Yep.
It should be very profitable. Not financial advice. Now, they also have this weird thing. We're supposed to get them on the show at some point, and we should do that. Like, I really want to have them on to talk about their miners. Maybe it's best we get them on once it's shipped. I don't know. But yeah, basically they have these blades. You can put them in your own motherboard. You can buy a bunch of blades, or you can buy what is this? Double barrel. What is this rack stack? A powerful, completely anonymous unit designed to seamlessly blend into industrial environments. Okay. So it looks like they're selling a rack worth of, I wonder how much that costs. Jesus. It's like $100,000 right there, at least. Seriously. If it's a whole rack, like if it's a whole like server rack type of thing.
Yeah.
That'd be pretty dope.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, that would be fun to look into those and see. Maybe there's other use case too. Like if at some point they become unprofitable as mining equipment, are they useful for other tools? I know that was one thing they had talked about, to be like AI to use the hash power for AI, or use that computing power for AI, you can also get paid for that. I don't know.
I don't know how that would work. Honestly, I feel like you need a GPU, something that can, with CUDA cores or whatever. Like I would like to, I would like to hear how they do it, how that works. Because I was under the impression that, mining companies that do that, like was it Marathon that's doing GPU, like GPT processing on the side.
Right.
They're just basically renting out their storage space and providing, cheap electrical costs to these LLMs.
Oh, maybe
right?
that's what it is. Okay.
Yeah.
Wait, do you want, we could, we have long things. We could just call it, or do you want to talk a little bit about, the election, maybe how the impact is on crypto, maybe just in general, and then maybe we'll just call it a day.
I don't want to get canceled, bro. But I mean, look, I think at the same time, we're definitely going to see a lot of things shift. I hope, my sincerest hopes are that we find some common ground and that the people on both sides make peace. Because it's killing me, man. Like, yeah, it sucks, dude. I was at the office the other day, and I swear, like, it felt like someone died.
Really?
Yeah, I know. I mean, look, things are changing. Things are going to change, especially with this next presidency. I hope it'll be painless. I know there's a lot of concerns about the immigration crisis and families being separated. I don't, I hope everything is done in a humane way. If they do go ahead with it, I'd hate to see families being separated, for example, or people getting kicked out.
Don't you? I think what you have to do, because it is hard. Like, if you, I think you and I, we talk enough about what I call, it feels like a brainwashing, like a mass brainwashing of a lot of people that just believe, and they're not bad people. It's not like they're stupid or something. They've trusted certain institutions and they have no reason to disbelieve these institutions. And so to break that connection with, hey, I've trusted the New York Times and the Washington Post, and I've trusted my scientific institutions and the universities that they're acting in my best interest at all the time. To believe that's hard. It's like because you have to really reassess everything. That fear, I think, is what's driving a lot of people. And it's like that you ever hear the whole black pill and white pill, red pill? They always talk about that stuff. The black pill is like, oh, we're just doomed. And we've certainly talked in spaces about how bad governments can be and how oppressive they can be, particularly in the world of crypto, right? Just irrationally, just squashing innovation and freedom. But I think you ultimately have to have optimism. And I felt, not that I've ever felt super pessimistic about, the Joe Biden administration. I don't feel like it was some kind of monster or anything. But watching the collection of people that surrounded Trump, I have to be optimistic. Like, I agree with you. Like, if there's things where, like, I just don't believe that anybody with maybe a small fraction of people truly believe we should be going and raiding homes and just pulling people and throwing them out. I don't think that's
definitely
Vivek believes. I don't think it's something that Elon believes. I don't think it's something that Robert Kennedy believes, JD Vance. I don't even think Trump believes it. I think my hope is that what comes of this is a better path to citizenship for people that are here illegally, but they work and they pay rent and they pay whatever taxes they're supposed to pay. And we find a way to, like, not eliminate them by removing them, but saying, like, if you're here illegally and you're like, you don't have any verifiable income, we don't know who you are, and we find out you're at a history of crime in the past, that's a different story than somebody who's here and is a contributing member of society.
And if they have a family here, it's pretty, like, what do you do? Like, I'd like to see something, and maybe this is, people won't agree with me, but I think it'd be cool if you offered, say there's a family, you offered the men an opportunity to serve in the army or something similar, to provide some kind of service to the country. Heaven forbid they get deployed and they don't come back. Their families would get like their military pension. They would have, yeah. I mean, that's kind of a dark scenario as well. Hopefully we see some peace, but I feel like there are ways to, like, there is work to be done. There are jobs. I think the army is always looking for people. Yeah.
I mean, we need people here to build homes for people. I mean, the housing is ridiculous. I mean, in Canada, Jesus Christ, your housing's ridiculous up there. And what a better way to, I'd rather have people here, bodies here, able to work, that are contributing members of society than anything else. And so I just don't think, as much as people go, oh, well, 50% of people voted for this guy who wants to deport everybody, I don't think that that's the case. And I think the vast majority of people don't see someone here who came across and is working as like evil. So the optimal thing is good legal immigration for as many people as we feel is sustainable. Is that we can't take 100 million people. And if you're not contributing anything, it's like, well, then what do we? You hate to act like we're some kind of exclusive club, but that's a reality. You can't just tell people, hey, show up and you're taken care of, because that's just that's an unlimited amount of people are going to find their way here until it breaks, until the system breaks.
It's an irresponsible immigration policy that puts strains on the rest of our country's, mechanism, systems and stuff. For example, housing. Yeah. Like in Canada, I think we just have, the last couple of years, we've had a disproportionate amount of, our population increased disproportionately compared to the amount of houses, apartments that we have to rent out and to sell, which is putting people that are here in a difficult situation, difficult position. They can't afford, just everyday life is getting more and more expensive. So yeah, there's definitely a balance that needs to be done. I think having a clear path to citizenship, and making sure that we can actually support them, making sure that we've got the houses, that we've got the jobs, that we don't end up just, eroding our healthcare system, right? Like, make sure that we don't end up breaking stuff, making sure that we can still feed ourselves, right? Like, I don't know if this is, at least if the Canadian government has been doing this, if they've had a balanced immigration policy plan, or if they just, they're just a huge bleeding heart and letting people in as much as possible. And like, we'll figure that out later. We'll let the next administration figure out how to fix the mess.
We're both fortunate. Canada and the United States have a lot of space. We got immense amounts of natural resources, and getting people to produce. What I said is a few weeks ago. Yeah, when people cooperate, they can create abundance. I don't have any doubt that we can easily build 10 million homes in a couple of years if we remove restrictions, find ways to make it financially feasible by like removing taxation, removing some of these regulations and difficulties in building. And that's what I'm hopeful we're going to see, is that we're not going to want to give up labor because we're going to need them, because we're going to be so prosperous. And I felt that, like, I genuinely felt watching the acceptance speech again, like some optimism, and that's what I think the difference between the two parties has been, is one was selling like fear of the present and past, a pessimism about today, and the other one was selling an optimism about tomorrow. Yeah. And that's ultimately all. I mean, shit, man, we're still human beings. You gotta have some hope out there. You can't sell the black pill. It doesn't, there's not a big market for it. People don't want to feel that way. They want to feel like, I can go out and work and make a difference, and I will be rewarded for it. That's all they want.
Every time someone takes a black pill, man, like, society loses, and it's like, we gotta remain hopeful. We gotta be optimistic. we have a lot to fight for. We already have a lot going for us. We just, need to make sure that everything's working correctly and that corruption is nipped in the bud.
Yeah.
Taxation is a huge thing, right? Like I pay Quebec, we pay tons of taxes. Canada, the rest of Canada, we pay a ton of taxes, and we just want to make sure that it's not being wasted. I want to make sure that, like, what are they doing with this money? Is it going up? Like, whose pockets is it going in? Is it just being wasted? Is it, being used to pay for redundancies within the system? Is there corruption within the government and how it gives out its contracts for construction and whatnot? Like, that's what frustrates me. And that's what I'm hopeful with, the Department of Government Efficiency that's being proposed.
Mm-hmm.
If they can bring some transparency and 10x the efficiency of the government, I think it'd be wonderful.
Let me ask you this, because I've thought about this. I had a stretch, and I always have an idea, like maybe I'd want to start a small business or something, right? And it feels very intimidating to go through the processes of it. Like you're just like, you feel like I got to get an accountant because I'm not going to be able to track this properly. You're going to have a payroll service because payroll is so complicated because taxation is such this, and you don't want to mess up, because if you mess up, you'll be penalized so heavily, or you might be legally in trouble. And so it just becomes such a, like, I just don't even want to mess around with it. And that's what I think is one of the biggest preventers of like just local businesses being successful, is it's a ridiculous burden on people. And then you add onto that certain minimum wages and certain levels of healthcare you have to provide people. And it's just like, forget it. That's what the people that could maybe go out and produce something wonderful are just saying, I don't even want to bother. I'm just going to take my job that pays me a certain amount, and I'm happy with that. And so it just prevents innovation. It prevents services from forming. So that again, that's hopefully the thing we see, is not just cutting spending, but cutting some regulations. And but it starts with cutting spending, because they have to, the reason they have to have so much regulation is because they need the money. They can't function if they can't give you everything and ask for nothing. That's not feasible.
Yeah.
So,
and with a government that's just ever expanding, it's hard to do that. Like, you need to keep feeding this thing. You need to keep feeding it coal, otherwise the fire will go dim. Like, it's wild to think that the country's deficit or interest on its debt is as high as its entire military budget. That just blows my mind. And it looks, if I say we, but like when the Americans, if they were to keep going on this, continuing on this trajectory, how long do you think it'll be before, your interest payments are as large as the rest of the government's payments? Like, how much until those budgets just collide? And then at what point then, like, at that point, you reach an inflection point where, this is where you start the downward spiral, right? When you're spending, you can't even spend on your own stuff, on your own needs, and the country's own departments, and just paying it to your debtors.
So my local area, we had a school levy, and I've been here about 12 years, and I feel like this is the fourth or fifth time they've asked us to pay some sort of additional levy. Some of them are replacements, but a couple times ago it was a big one, and people were rejected it. It was the first time in my life, I think, I've seen a school levy not pass. And I live in a place where there's people, I am in my city, I'm poor. Okay. There's a lot of people with enough money to do it, but it's been more the principle of the thing of like, keep spending more. It's not, we're bringing new people in. It's constantly growing. So you should have more tax revenue than you've ever had. So what's the issue? Right. And, it's a lot of administrative costs. And the sad reality is, like, my daughter's there, and I voted for it because, my daughters are in school, and some of the teachers, they've basically laid out, like, if this doesn't pass, these teachers are going to lose their jobs. We're going to cut music departments. We're going to cut all theater, this and this. And it's a bit of a standoff. And I think, until we actually start to do the cuts, the things that people really want won't reveal themselves. Because, or people will get creative. Like, I was at something with my daughter the other night. Like, they had a band thing, and I'm like, it'd be why couldn't they just charge everybody? There's 1,000 people here. Charge them $3 a person or something to go see their kid play. And, it's like you start realizing like there's other ways you can raise money. There's other ways that people will voluntarily give that money up to support something they like. It doesn't have to all come from taxation. But it's this mindset again of, well, I go back to like everybody just thinks somebody else should do it. Like, I'll just pay the bill. I don't want to have to actually do anything. It ends up, that's just, you can't do that. It doesn't work. It's not the best way. The free market finds the things that people truly want and finds out if they really care about them. Like, if you really care about these kids having music, all right, we might need to make some cuts, and we might have to do more fundraisers, and you're going to have to get off your ass and go buy your kid their own instrument. That's just what's going to happen.
That's the other thing. Yeah. Like if the government itself is run more efficiently, it means more money for the arts, for even social services, right? Like, I think there's a huge net positive to be made in trimming the fat.
Well, we'll see. It's going to be rough. And what Elon proposed of, hey, I'll pay, I think he said his idea is you just pay people for 2 years to do nothing. You cut the department, you give them 2 years pay. It's going to suck. I mean, our deficit will balloon, services will be cut, but it's a softer transition than just you're fired, good luck, because you can't flood the job market, right? You got to give people time to maybe go start a new business. Like, same thing, go start a business with you've already got a backup plan. You've got income. Here's your time to go do what you've always wanted to do. And then actually produce something that people want. Like, that's the man.
2-year severance. That's super generous. I think they would, a lot of people would opt for that, like if given the opportunity.
Now they're doing it voluntarily, and that's exactly what you want them to feel like this is my choice, and I can go do something I want with it. And after 2 years, is it going to be rough? Yeah, absolutely. People are going to all of a sudden go, oh, I didn't do anything, and now I don't have any money. It's like, well, look, you had 2 years. What do you want at some point in time? What do you want other people to do? They can't take care of everything. Do for yourself. So I don't know. I'm optimistic. I'm hopeful. I don't believe that. Obviously, I don't believe Trump is all the things that they say he is. I don't believe all his supporters are these awful people. I think there's an understanding that he's one person, but I think he's aligning a lot of unique people. And that's been the most interesting part in this second run. It's been, man, really broad.
RFK, man.
Yes, Tulsi Gabbard up there, basically stumping for him constantly is like, wow, like wildly different. She ran for president as a Democrat in 2020. RFK was running for a Democrat this year.
Yeah.
So like, how is, it's clearly not what people are saying it is. And, those are good vocal people that will keep him in check. And that if RFK comes out and says, Trump's not doing, like, I feel like he has the freedom to do that. And I don't feel like Trump's going to retaliate against him in any way. I think it's very revealing that those people are coming forward and they believe in this larger movement. And it isn't about Trump. I think people need to understand that. It's about the media. It's about these institutions and the corruption of the corporations, this entanglement of government and corporation and the war machine that's just got to be disbanded. We got to do something about it. So, all right, I've ranted enough. Ready to be done?
I don't think there's much more to say about that. I think, I think we've seen some positive things happening already. I feel like, was it Hamas said they wanted to ceasefire or some crap? Like,
well, yeah, I think it was one of the countries, the UAE or Oman or something, basically is telling Hamas to get out. They don't want anything to do with them anymore. Again, you know what? I shouldn't.
We'll see what happens. It's super early at this point, and the guy's not even in office yet. So, but early signs are pointing to de-escalation of the conflicts.
Yeah.
Which is amazing.
Dude, can you imagine if Ukraine is over by like end of January?
Dude, if it happens before,
are you going to be? Like,
before he actually goes into office, like, yeah, I don't think it's going to happen. I think maybe they will have a conversation. Like, maybe if they're going to speak next week. And then he'll be like, listen, okay, so when you go in, promise me this, and I'll stop killing everyone.
Well, that happened last time, if you remember, and somebody went to jail over it. General Flynn, I think. Before he was in office, he spoke to somebody from the Russian government. Somebody's going to need to give me a history recap.
Oh, yeah.
That was the whole part of it. That's like, as soon as he talks to Russia, oh, see, he's going to Russia. It's like, oh my God, people, we have to talk to these
President-elect is talking to, yeah.
I forget who it was. I think it was, oh, man. It's going to bother me. I want to find that article. I'll post it or something. But it was, essentially saying that these guys are out colluding with Russians, and that thing's going to rear its ugly head again. But yeah, if we can see some, obviously an end to it and some sort of peaceful move forward, that's the best in both those scenarios. I don't like the Israeli scenario at all. I feel like that one's not going away. That's out of our hands, unfortunately.
Inshallah. I mean, we'll see what happens. Yeah, I am nowhere near qualified enough to speak on these topics. I just know that it fucking sucks.
Yeah, these are opinions. This is an opinion show, not a fact show.
Exactly.
All right, guys. Well, let's end it. I appreciate you guys all coming in every week. Go check out, as always, get Cake Wallet, download it, use the tools as they were intended. I think what they've done is awesome, and supporting companies that are trying to bring you new services and all that. That's what we want. So, see you later, Animal. See you next week. And join us on Wednesdays. We do spaces. They're going to be unrecorded from now on, by the way. I've made that decision. Executive decision. All right,
Fair enough.
All right. Talk to you guys later.
Bye, everyone.